I'm told that now a lot of people log in as well, so we'll get a lot of questions and queries which we should try and answer.
Yes.
Yeah, but
While you
can
clearly
say I'm still in the Davos mood, denims and sneakers. No, but
Davos की ठंड भी आप लेकर आए हो बॉम्बे?
नहीं है, ठंड नहीं है बॉम्बे में. No, but thank you everybody for joining in. I was the curious pattern of the market today, and just a brief preamble before all of you come in as well. एक तो मैं चश्मे नहीं पहने because there's a glare, but the small cap index is down 2%. Bank Nifty is up 2%. Mid cap index has seen a recovery and is almost in the green. So the broader markets, small caps are still not doing well. Mid caps are now. There are two aspects to this. Firstly, one, why the Nifty could be doing well. Obviously, the Bank Nifty and the RBI measures are the clear support out here. But there is an interesting data point.
Nifty Bank is doing well because of
right,
2%
up. Right? And Nifty Bank is a heavyweight, so that will do well.
Yeah.
But yesterday, I told our colleague Chinmay to dig this data out, which I'm going to do a small piece on television tomorrow, but I'll briefly mention this.
This for the benefits of the YouTube.
Yes.
Preview कर रहे हो.
हाँ, preview. First on digital first. As of yesterday, the Nifty 50 1-year forward PE was 18.96 times. Since 2006, the average is 16 times. So we still above, right? Way above. But if you look at the 3-year average curve, it is there on my phone and it will be there on TV tomorrow. But if you see this on the 3-year curve, the Nifty yesterday hit the 3-year valuation multiple. So 2-3 factors. One, that
average valuation
over the last 3 years. So one, the trading at average valuations of the last 3 years, Nifty 50, so not very expensive relative to history.
You're saying 18 and now 19%. 19 times.
Just between 18 and 19 times. So just at those valuations, एक part वो है. दूसरा, expiry week and an oversold market. So therefore that. And third, frankly, what the RBI has done is serious stuff. I mean, it is a no holding back approach the Reserve Bank has done, right? I mean, they are doing FX swaps, this, that, etc., everything. And this is in addition to the CRR cut, etc. done. Sorry, and the market will believe that this is preempting a rate cut that is coming in February. So there was no reason for the Bank Nifty to not do well.
I think everyone is trying to say that that a rate cut is coming in February. But what RBI has done is that ensured that while there remains a liquidity deficit over the next 4 to 6 weeks, that quantum of deficit has been brought down because of OMO, long-term VRR, variable repo, and then the $5 billion forex swap which they have done, right? ये सब के बाद भी थोड़ा सा deficit रहेगा. I think the jury is still out on a rate cut because inflation numbers are still higher than expectation. It's moderating. Means कर रहा है पर उतना नहीं.
शर्त लगा रहा है. पुनीत गवाह है.
नहीं गवाह तो मैं भी हूँ. गवाह तो मैं भी हूँ.
In case you don't trust me.
ना.
तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ रेट कट आ रहा है. February.
नहीं रेट कट आ रहा है.
अरे अभी आ
रहा है कि नहीं बता.
नहीं मैं फेब की बात कर रहा हूँ.
मैं फेब की बात नहीं कर रहा. वो फेब के पास हम करेंगे तब एक और शो करेंगे हर रोज कर रहे हैं तो we will get more data on it. But
he doesn't put his money where his mouth is.
No, I'm saying कि फेब में नहीं आएगा.
मैं बोल रहा हूँ आएगा. शर्त तो लगाओ.
डन.
शर्त तो लगा.
एक कॉफी की शर्ट.
एक कॉफी की शर्ट. हाँ ठीक है. दो मंगाएंगे पुनीत को.
प्लीज 2/3 करेंगे.
2/3 चलो. हाँ. Markets are down so.
But so your pace on valuations, it's near the 3-year average. So does that indicate that with the
So that if the markets were very overvalued, last piece, then even if the RBI measures would have come in plus this, maybe the reaction would not have been so sharp. The reaction is good and sharp today. Whether it falls in the afternoon, Sajeet believes it is. It may well. Yes. Nobody has an idea. I don't think it's possible to. वो हो सकता है. देखते हैं.
मुझे जो दिख रहा है आज सेंसेक्स का वीकली एक्सपायरी है. So I think there is some short covering which is happening. वो मुझे that's what I can see. अगर it holds on, it's very good. I mean, then it's basically we have hit a bottom for at least for now.
मुझे लग रहा है होल्ड ऑन करेगा. ये एक्सट्रीम फेज से
उतना वो दिख नहीं रहा. IT is not even moving, right?
IT can't move.
100 Nifty 100 के 100 देखो 0.73%.
But IT can't move.
हाँ, IT can't move. पर IT का भी है ना. 18-19
No, I'm saying IT sector cannot move because of what's happening to Nasdaq.
तो 20% वेटेज तो है ना उसको सब मिला
So
के।
before we get to DeepSeek,
हाँ.
sorry, so just finishing the point that एक market, okay, again Sajeet is saying कि शायद उसको दिख नहीं रहा है, मुझे लग रहा है कि थोड़ा होल्ड करेगा, let's see, debatable यार किसको पता है,
हाँ वो
ये
वो we are not chartists but you know the way it is ये Tuesday factor चल रहा है उधर
a
basically
small problem, portfolios are getting hammered even now.
yes
Because mid caps and
यार
small
मैं
caps.
I was looking at some of the data like you were doing right. Nifty PSU Bank it's down nearly 24% from the all time high मतलब 52 week high. आपका 250 जो है small cap 250 is down 20%, micro cap 250 is down 20%, small cap 100 is down 19.4, mid cap 150 is down 15.8%. Nifty alone is down 12.5% from 52 week high. So इस अभी जो हो रहा है जो गिर रहा है is basically a preparation for FY26 I can say कि भाई 26 में जो ग्रोथ करेंगे उसके ऊपर बैकिंग हो जो चर्न हो रहा है या शिफ्टिंग हो रही है पीपल आर ट्राइंग टू फिगर आउट कि भाई वैल्यूएशन और फंडामेंटल्स किसके आगे जाने वाले हैं और कौन स्लो पाथ में रहेगा।
आप मिड कैप्स के लिए बोल रहे हो?
मिड कैप्स एंड स्मॉल कैप्स के बोल रहे हो?
स्मॉल कैप्स हाँ परफेक्ट
दोनों के लिए
मिड कैप्स तो अभी ग्रीन में है थोड़ा बहुत बट स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स ही ऐसा है अगेन वैल्यूएशन है 29 टाइम्स है मिड कैप 100
एग्जैक्टली
the forget the 15-year average but the 3-year average also is much lower
yes
अभी भी थोड़ा
तो उतना नीचे भी नहीं आया है उतना भी नहीं अभी भी हाई वैल्यूएशन पे बैठा हुआ है
वही है।
So my question is, which you mentioned, Nifty is at 18 to 19 times 3-year comparable average. When large caps haven't done well over the last 2 years as compared to the mid caps and small caps, so does that indicate that those companies which has a lot of focus on autos, lot of FMCG there is slowdown, IT which I mentioned, does that have a better focus going into FY26? As so I also mentioned that mid caps going into FY26 might have some bearish outlook or on this thing.
मैं बताऊं मुझे लग रहा है पैसा भी मिड कैप में बनेगा।
Okay, still.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, I mean, frankly, so one, you can think of banks and stuff like that. Mutual funds will think of banks, etc. Safe bets. Manish Chokha ने बहुत अच्छी statistic बताई। Manish Chokha ने बोला कि बॉस 5 years out, if I know, मैं 5 साल सोचता हूँ, after 5 years, if I feel that the company is available currently at 5 P multiple, 5 years out, then I'm happy to own it because there are two things. One, if I'm able to forecast a 5-year P multiple, तो मुझे 5 साल का उसका business समझ में आता है, थोड़ा effort डालना पड़ेगा. And then whether out then, when 5 years out, तभी it trades at 10 multiple, 15 or 20 multiple, depends on the growth that it is showing. But my ownership thesis is correct. कि मुझे बिजनेस पता है और मैं सस्ते दाम पे लेगा।
पर नैरो डाउन कर देते हो ना आप उससे। अगर आपको एक बिजनेस चाहिए जो विच यू वांट टू अंडरस्टैंड 5 years डाउन द लाइन कैसे दिख कर रहा है, तो आपने ऑलरेडी आधे से ज़्यादा इंडस्ट्री से निकाल दी बिकॉज हर इंडस्ट्री में कुछ इनोवेशन हो रहा है, कुछ पिवट हो रहा है हर इंडस्ट्री में। तो सिर्फ मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बचा आपका या जो ट्रेडिशनल बैंकिंग बचा, यही तो बचे और कुछ नहीं।
But that's okay ना, think of it this way कि if I was amongst the last ones to hop onto the Nvidia bandwagon in a fast changing environment,
20% गया ना
सिंपल। तो अगर मेरे में क्षमता नहीं है और बहुत लोगों में नहीं है क्षमता, इट्स ओके, यू डोंट हैव टू डांस टू गो टू एवरी पार्टी इन टाउन, राइट? अगर आप में क्षमता नहीं है टू एनालाइज अ फास्ट मूविंग सेक्टर, डेटा सेंटर्स मतलब अनंत राज आज फॉर लैक ऑफ अ बेटर वर्ड लगे पड़ी है, सिंपल है, बिकॉज सिंपल है। तो अगर आपको नहीं समझ में आता है मत खेलो ना वो पार्टी में, माइट एज वेल डू समथिंग दैट यू अंडरस्टैंड।
यू नो the DeepSeek जो हम we are just graduating to talk on that. One thing is very clear, IT valuations जो इतने ऊपर गए थे, जो Max 7 valuations हम बात करते रहते हैं, they all are going to correct now because what DeepSeek has shown is that you can get the AI models at 1/10 or 1/20th cost.
1/250th cost. By the way, if you have questions, guys, please send us. There is one question from Anand Modi, of course, and there is one question from Crazy Crux. So we'll try and take those questions. But sorry, Sajeet, please finish your point.
So that valuation last year, the Nasdaq rally or the S&P 500 rally went up because these companies had a weight of 30 to 40% on that indices. Now because of this, you're going to see underperformance of Nasdaq and S&P this year.
Yes.
It's going to happen. And उसका rub off Indian IT में भी आएगा.
Yes, आ सकता है.
और हम देख रहे हैं, हम IT has been very subdued for last couple of weeks, but that was more of an earnings and outlook for Q4 and other stuff. But future earnings AI जो ये लोग बोल रहे हैं, वो impact इसमें भी आएगा. Not only IT में आएगा. Means I was reading some reports. They were talking about how power utility companies may be hit because AI की वजह से they were assuming a lot of extra power requirement. Now it will come down because इतना आपको जरूरत नहीं है. So वो जो additional kicker आने वाला था, data center वाकई सब जगह से, वो सब कम होने वाला है.
Interesting for battery companies also because Amar Raja both excited investing in new battery plants and going towards batteries for electric vehicles. They have mentioned that data centers is the biggest growth driver for them on the industrial side. And we've seen both those stocks get hammered before the results come. Excite is coming today. Commentary is going to be something that's going to drive the results because it's down almost from 600 levels to 380, and it has said that industrial, while cars haven't done well, so batteries are down, but they were banking on the industrial side with data center specifically, so that also might get affected with this correction. So some commentary on that might be something to look out for as well.
Yeah, very good. So Excite के केस में तो पता भी नहीं है, but हमारा राजा valuations had gone through the roof.
Yeah.
So in some sense, चलो थोड़ा gravity भी आ रहा है.
Yeah.
I don't know. I frankly I don't understand how quickly will this narrative around data centers has changed.
Yeah.
Will it change again or no?
Yes,
Who
yes,
knows, right?
yeah.
Things may be different.
Yeah.
I mean, one question that I have is what if DeepSeek is not able to, there are some question marks around that. No. Some question marks in a report that I read that it is using some of the different processors as well, which is not able to say because of the issues between the two countries. So what if it is actually not as cheap, for example, and therefore the actual demand for chips might not be as bad as the street certainly believes it might be, right? So I think it's too fast moving. Better that if you don't understand this and if you can't stomach the volatility, it is like Bitcoin, right? Then stay out of it. No?
Stay out of it.
You don't have to go to that party.
Next thing is
but there is a question, that is coming from Crazy Crux, who is asking, are there any AI stocks to explore in Indian markets like Nvidia? मेरे हिसाब से नहीं है. Chip stories in India.
Chip stories still in nascent stage.
I think only semiconductor will be something to watch out for with CG Power, Keynes investing. Those are the only two listed companies that have decided to invest.
And maybe in the future Tata Electronics comes.
Future also. But for Keynes, like today we saw stock getting hammered because of
I want to come to you on that, but just one small point here. For these businesses also, we don't know what percentage of their business will be the semiconductor business as well, right? So in some sense, trying to predict that they will benefit if indeed the semiconductor demand goes to the roof again. Yes, they will benefit, but the extent of that, I don't know. But actually, so do you want to Keynes पे बात करें, stock 18% नीचे आज.
Yeah, and I think
कल भी गिरा था ना.
Yeah, well, expectations of a strong result. I think EMS valuations have been high, so there was a 56% growth expectations coming at 30. And margins have come in. So while order book, everything has done well. I think the one part was guidance, which you spoke to the management about it. They've cut their guidance for this year, and I think with EMS,
100 crore.
100 crore, exactly. From 3,000 it's come to 2,900.
He said 28 or 2,900.
And that has been one thing because.
उस 100 करोड़ में से कितना market cap गिरा?
5,000 crore.
काफी ऊपर गया था.
And the stock is around 40% in this 1 month. And I think within EMS it's interesting that Amber reported results, it did well. Dixon reported good results, it fell 14% because they're going to semiconductor components now. So
I think a huge investment which is
yes, and so market is valuing what you're doing currently. So well, Amber has said, I will stick to room air conditioners, I will go into components, and that's visible because penetration of AC is low. So that has done well. But on the other side, PG Electroplast is getting hammered on the other side, down from 1,000 levels to 600. That does ACs as well. Still not working out.
But ये मुझे बता, इसमें डिमांड फैक्टर कितना है? बिकॉज कंजम्पशन डिमांड अभी समर्स शुरू होने वाले हैं, एसी डिमांड आने वाले हैं. बट are we going to see the same kind of demand which we saw last year? Because last year there was excessive heat wave.
So inventory was the biggest thing. Inventory was at an all-time low last year. Now it is built up to roughly around 30 to 40% levels. That's what management have indicated. So the growth this year is going to be very strong, and they are.
The only demand is the issue.
Yes, so they are expecting another good season, strong season, not comparatively to last year, but they are expecting another strong summer season. In
high base पे करेंगे ना ये?
It will be on a high base, but it's. I think this year again.
High base पे growth का issue होगा ना?
होना चाहिए. So actually, I don't know whether Bimal Parekh का question EMS पे या markets पे, but let's assume दोनों पे answer करने की try करते हैं. पहले EMS पे try करते हैं. So Bimal Parekh is asking, does it make sense to buy at these valuations when there is no growth or less growth? I'm presuming in EMS case, lower growth than before. Maybe.
Lower growth.
Yes,
Yeah.
Is it true?
So while growth for this year he has hampered, Keynes Technology specifically, like you said, 3,000 ka 2,800 revenue. He still maintained his guidance for FY26, and he said on the conference call right now at 11:15, this is delayed revenue. This is not revenue lost.
Okay.
So it will come in FY26, and they have 50% growth guidance for next year.
Order delay.
Order delay. So the new segments like railways, Kavach orders haven't come in. They are still, qualifying for that. So they are not qualified, but that is not. Medical devices have not come in yet. Orders. Industrial segment is the only one that's driven the growth, and there you see that 30% growth. But overall, they're still expecting 4,500 crores, so 50% growth in FY26, and last quarter में semiconductor revenue आएगा. So it might
be last quarter of FY26.
FY26, so more 5 quarters to go, but it's not as far-fetched.
बहुत ही aggressive projections.
But it's a space that is.
But will you be able to achieve that? I mean, that's the question. I mean,
see, you can. We asked this management twice on air today.
Yeah, I know. I heard
reiterated that.
Yeah, but problem ये है कि सारे management ऐसे H1 से पहले तो बोल रहे थे ना कि H2 सही होगा.
नहीं, but ये specific number पे बोल रहा है Sajeet. So then you tend to give it the benefit of choice because hitherto Keynes has not missed out on the guidance.
Yes, not too much.
Right?
And while revenue slightly lower compared, he's mentioned that first half was slower than we expected because of elections and other reasons. And he for 4,500 is for FY26. He said he'll do 8,000 crores in FY28. So he's given forward guidance till an extent that he'll go into PCBs also, he'll go into semicon. But I feel the market is rewarding players like Amber because you can see the products getting into market over the next.
There's one more small point to this thing, and then I'll try and answer Bimal's question as well on the markets wide. But for some of these EMS companies, it is relatively easier to believe the projections. Why? Because of the PLI benefits that they've got.
They have to meet that, ना?
They have to meet that. So their commitment है तो उनको पता है कि ये तो करना ही है मुझे
इतना PLI लेना तो इतना revenue top line करना ही है.
और इतना मैंने backend पे tie करके रखा है contract. So therefore, it will make me a really big skeptic if I start doubting what a Dixon or an EMS are guiding for years at large.
Yes.
Because 5 साल का
quarter or two. Yes.
उन्होंने 5 साल का PLI तो बता के रखे ना कि मुझे इतना PLI मिलेगा 5 साल में और हर साल इतना ग्रेजुएट.
The only thing which you spoke to the management of Keynes about, they are expecting 1,000 crores of revenues in Q4. So that's immediate. And that's a 60-70% growth. That is the only.
But he's
100% confident.
100% confident.
But he'll also have to meet 16% EBITDA in Q4 to meet the full year guidance of 15%.
Which also I think he said
he's saying he's 100% confident. He's quoting on that aspect.
I'll give you the benefit of doubt.
Because of execution capabilities over the last 2 years.
Also, you're committing on a national television. You will not love so much like that, right? Simple. But sorry, just one question. Actually, 2 questions rolled into one. Just moving away from DeepSeek a little bit to the question that Bimal Parekh had for the market wise, because even Balaji's question, which sector can we stay bullish on this year, kind of tie in with each other. Okay.
Yes.
So I will, in order to answer Balaji's question, I'll follow Manish Chokhani.
Yes.
But first, Bimal's question: does it make sense to buy at these valuations when there is no growth or less growth? Bimal, I think my view that your question is pertinent. That under an ordinary circumstance, with the valuations the way they are, and with growth not quite picking up, yes, it is the market pain over? Not necessarily so. So you might not want to put in all the money, but I must tell you one simple thing that we learned during COVID times as well, that you can't time the bottom. So अगर आपके पास 100 रुपए है, so deploy a little. I mean, deploy 5% of your portfolio that you want to deploy right now into stocks which have fallen 30, 40, 50% from the top, but are trading at good valuation, by the way. There are a lot of stocks. Keynes, for example, after falling so much also, is trading at 70, 80 times, right?
Yeah, I think, because of the fall, roughly 65, but next year. So it's still, the current valuations are still high.
But 1 year forward is 65 times still,
yeah,
right?
65, yes.
Doesn't mean that you shouldn't buy it. You can buy it also, but it is expensive. So you need to figure out the valuations as well. But yes, in a lot of sectors, even if they have fallen 30, 40, 50%, they might still be expensive. And yes, look at the Q3 commentary most importantly, because I think that will give you
That
a
is
clue.
Yes.
best thing is that you should be reading a lot on the companies which you are basically investing in, especially the commentary which is coming in. So if a stock has fallen from top 30-40%, look at the growth potential in terms of fundamentals.
Exactly.
And temper your expectation कि ये double होगा या triple होगा. Means if you have a good outlook on this particular stock based on the kind of fundamentals and commentary which is coming from the company, and you have a modest return on the horizon, then you should take look at it. ये मत सोचो कि मेरा डबल होगा या ट्रिपल होगा, वो ना बॉटम पता चलता है ना टॉप पता चलता है, सिंपल एज दैट. सो and it's time to reallocate the portfolio.
Yes.
That's the biggest thing कि just check your portfolio, कौन से उसमें underperform कर रहे हैं from a earnings point of view, from fundamental point of view, and look which are the stocks which have fallen and which are growing at a decent rate.
Yeah.
Because we are heading into a slow growth rate also. So उसका impact भी आएगा companies पे. तो decent rate पे कौन से companies grow कर रहे हैं, and then you allocate your resources accordingly.
But do you believe what Mr. Chokhani also mentioned, that he's not too much into a rush to invest now, and he's not bought too much over the last 2 years as well, so he's been very
so there is a layer to this. And by the way, I think so Balaji, I think the answer to your question comes in from this, but it's a beautiful interview.
Yes,
I mean, whenever he speaks, I learn something, right? So must watch. I mean, I think our team will put in the interview. I think they will drop the interview as well, the link. I think it's a must watch interview. But there are two layers to this. One, the nature of investor that Manish Chokhani is, a very large investor with large pools of capital, is happy with 12-15% per annum maybe. I'm not putting a number, I'm just saying maslan, example. He might be happy with 12%. You might not be happy with 12%. अगर आप लाख रुपए डाल रहे हो, अगर सिर्फ 12% मिल रहा है, तो आप क्या ही कमाओगे लाइफ में? So your risk appetite and your horizon and your everything is different. So bear that in mind. But what he sees, our fundamental argument is that interest rates are higher than what they have been in the near zero era. So therefore valuation multiples, which are inversely proportional, have to be reset lower. So therefore जब zero interest rate था, the entire part of the last decade, and valuation multiples used to go up to 50, 60, 70 times as a norm, I think that needs to be reset. Fundamentally, that is a right argument. In a world sloshing with liquidity, maybe not. So that is one. So do I believe in him? Do I agree with him? I mean, he's way too learned than me. I'm no one to agree or disagree with him. I would take whatever he says with a obviously yes. Just that he's a different investor than what an average viewer might be. So people need to align it. सुनो सबकी, करो अपनी, सोच समझ के करो. Part 1. Part 2, what sector is what Balaji is asking. And Sajeet, then Crux is saying that you didn't answer, so both you and Puneet should answer about Amara Raja next side. But just one sector that Balaji is, I think there is merit in trying to think of it this way, that for the last 18 months, financials have been cheap. They have not been bought into massively. HDFC Bank 1400 पे नहीं है, 1700 पे है, but whatever, but no massive runaway gains. From a margin of safety perspective, when everything is looking so fluid, try and think of sectors which will not get badly impacted by changes in technology. And therefore banks count, right?
But उसके अंदर भी PSU or private.
Agree.
PSU has not been hit that hard because of the unsecured kind of book and all. Private sector has been MFI hit.
Mid-tier banks, so private banks have been hit very hard.
Niraj, and you have seen multiple cycles on banks, right? Do you think that PSU banks may outperform private sector this year?
So, see, since 2024, if you actually pull up a chart, some PSU banks have done much better than private sector banks also. The question only is, will some of the high quality, large PSU banks like an SBI, for example, or whatever, BOB or some other, or large private sector banks, where the balance sheet impact of shocks will not be very high, will they be better bets in a volatile environment? So, sure, a small cap stock which has got a large MFI presence in an up cycle would have beaten handsomely. But when the cycle turned, that stock became very volatile and cracked massively.
Multiple of those.
And HDFC Bank or etc. will probably not do that. So in what promises to be a tough year for making money, maybe you want less volatile stocks. So therefore, again, depending on the nature of the investor that you are, maybe large banks large NBFCs, Bajaj Finance देख लो बॉस 3 साल, I'm not recommending the stock by the way, I'm just saying 3 साल में कुछ नहीं किया स्टॉक ने, पराग ठक्कर आके बोल रहा है कि look at the franchise, look at it, so maybe there's merit in trying to study some of these. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but
yeah, that's, and I think finance में भी
आपको Excite पे बोलना है बाद में,
Excite versus
Amara Raja, and I think your point on finance.
Yeah, you know what I want to say is that private sector में NBFCs में I think some of the marquee Bajaj Finance, like you said, they haven't done much in the last 3 years, but now it's, I think they have been holding up. Last 6 months agar देखोगे data, they're holding up there. That's something which you need to pick some of the, you know, high performing companies in that sector. Coming to Amara Raja and
so
Excite.
we will do Amara Raja and Excite because Crazy Crux is saying Sajeet didn't answer, and then Jay has a question on what are our expectations from the budget. So we'll answer that also.
और एक ITC का question है जो
ITC पहले
था.
तो पहले Amara Raja ले लो, बाद में ITC ले लो.
What do you think? Amara Raja is better than Excite, or Excite is better than Amara Raja?
So one thing is that's gonna be the differentiator is Excite is coming out with this newer facility first. It's in the next quarter, Q4. So any kind of commentary which they've done in the new battery and new energy, and they already have tie-ups with guys like Hyundai. But the raw material price has been something which no one expects, and it's a commodity business at the end of the day. So that is one of the key aspects which is a negative. But overall, while not a recommendation, I feel Amara Raja has been able to, do things better than Excite in terms of technology, and they also believe in tie-ups. So they've already had 2 tie-ups in this year with Korean partners, and that I think will be the key differentiation. So technology is going to drive, but you'll have to wait for some time for Amara Raja's new battery facility to come in next year.
And
come in Q4,
but that's
Q3,
primarily for the EV companies,
that's
right?
For the EVs,
EV
yes.
companies.
And the traditional, I think industrial, we spoke about industrial battery
pattern.
demand.
Amara is doing much better there.
Doing much better there. So commentary, I think, because Q3, I think every sector commentary has been going to be very important. We've seen banks already done, IT is already majorly done. Autos will start today. We have Hyundai, we have Bajaj, we have TVS. Tomorrow there's Maruti, tomorrow there's Tata.
Wow.
So it's everyone wants to just give it before the budget. But expectations are not that bad, to be honest. While the sales figures are out.
Maruti had a blockbuster December, right?
Blockbuster December, blockbuster January. They had 1 lakh sold in the first 10 days in retail sales. So that's actual sales.
Okay.
And what's interesting is they've also announced a second price hike. Never done that.
2 hikes in
February.
पहले कभी नहीं किया.
January में हमेशा करता है. Feb 1st से नया hike, and it's material. It's like 33,000 on vehicles. They've given a.
But it varies
across models. So it's from
across model and
to 32,000.
जो जिसके inventory कम है उसमें ज़्यादा.
So I think you can get a scenario. The prices are going to increase from the first. I think that's going to be one of the key things. 32,000 price increase. But I think margins are going to be something which might. But because Auto Expo was very nice. Something which across channels we also covered it very extensively. Auto Expos across petrol, across electric vehicles was very strong. So I think this time, the last 3 quarters have been very poor irrespective of demand and this thing. So I think that first time in FY25, something positive for the auto sector.
One thing I want to ask on auto from you, you know, you have the EVs, Tata का भी EV subsidiary है और Mahindra का भी है, और and दोनों ने पैसा बाहर से उठाया है उसके लिए, मतलब investors have invested in the series. And FY25-26 is the year when it's supposed to start performing. Do you see that performance coming in and building up on the company?
So
and उसका basically EV demand से related है.
So okay, I'll try and answer your question in a way slightly different, if you will. Is that when I asked Anish Shah at Davos, okay, are you trying to think of getting into hybrids as well because you want to get into that
range extender
category? I asked this question to him 3 times on air in the interview, right? And he said, okay, we believe EV is the way to go. We have examined this very well, and we believe EV is the way to go for us. So in some sense, I think the answer was that hybrids may work for some, so it's great for them. For them, the EV investments are and will hopefully pay off. And he believed that I mean, I haven't seen the cars, maybe you have, maybe you have, but he seemed to believe that there is value for money with the kind of offerings that they're coming out with at the price points that they're coming out with. Because I was constantly asking him about that it is a premiumization thing, and he constantly kept on referring to that we are very conscious about the price that our customers pay.
Yeah.
So he was actually trying to say that this is a value launch,
yeah.
whereas I thought it was a premium launch.
I thought the pricing was premium.
26.9
लाख
lakhs.
वैल्यू लॉन्च नहीं हो सकता है.
No, but the point is, तो ये आप ये भी सोच सकते हो. I'm not saying, but just
Yeah.
example. Let's assume there's a car which is available at 40 lakh rupees
Yeah.
with the same features that Mahindra is getting at 30 lakh
30.
rupees, let's say.
Yeah.
So therefore, they will say now that it's value.
Yeah.
So
It is for a bracket of customers which are willing to pay
Okay.
Yeah.
30, 35 lakh, 40 lakh
Yeah.
rupees.
And they've also launched at
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he seemed to believe that is the case.
I think just one point, he's always mentioned range anxiety is real. As a company, they believe that, so they've launched the 79 kilowatt bigger battery, 600 kilometers range. They don't want to get into the mass 300, 400 kilometers. So that's where the cost is coming. So this is the high priced. It'll come lower also, the lower battery, 59 kilowatt. But I feel like the company is daring everybody in the industry with their products. Something new, something not seen over the last decade. I think it started with XUV 500 in 2017. But they are saying we will launch at this price, we will sell at this price. And this is the fourth product I think since Anisha took over. The 3XO has done very well. The Thar has done very well. And now this is the third major product which the company is launching. XUV 700, I kind of forget.
I think the difference, Puneet, is that this is a Mahindra which has tasted success.
Yes.
The previous Mahindra launches,
Yes.
you know, I remember XUV
Yeah.
in the yesteryears when it was
Yeah.
launched was the first big
First,
successful model
yeah.
after Scorpio and
Yeah,
blah,
Scorpio
etc.,
has
right?
been the,
but
yes.
then it was the first big thing कि अरे इन्होंने इनको गाड़ी बनाना आता है.
Yeah.
Now
नहीं,
they've
but
tasted success
success.
and now they bank themselves or
But
back
Niraj,
themselves to
yeah.
do well.
the market also shifted for good for them, right?
Yes.
उस
Agreed,
समय
agreed.
SUV used to be small,
Yeah.
Yes.
right? Means it was meant for the rich.
हाँ.
Yeah.
अभी क्या है,
Agreed.
you have compact
You are
SUV,
right.
you have SUV अलग से, and
You are
now
right.
it has more than 50%
More than-
50% market
Yeah,
share of the passenger.
Yeah, very right.
vehicle.
And
But
that's
what do
why
you
I
think
think-
Tata Motors will do?
So,
Because Tata Motors का market share तो गिरेगा, क्योंकि market expand होगा तो
Market-
गिरेगा.
Yeah,
That's for
yeah.
sure. But वो क्या करेगा?
in this, I think they launched the Sierra. That is, they've said that we'll do a petrol first. And that was the opposite what they did with Curve. Curve, they launched EV first. So that they are saying ki we still believe petrol has the way to go, and Sierra old launch. The other biggest update I think for
We need to
this
wrap up
thing,
very quickly.
Yeah, will be the
And Sajeet
demerger.
has to answer ITC.
Yeah, so June में demerger है Tata Motors का PV business, this thing business, and what you mentioned, their EV business has a 9 billion valuation. It's not cheap.
Exactly. तो वो play out करेगा ना उसके इसमें.
Both, but yeah, I think Hyundai will be interesting. They although 70% sales comes from SUVs, it's largely a lot is Creta. So that is one problem. So this quarter is going to be a downturn for something like a Hyundai. Commentary again, something good.
But global, if you heard Hyundai's global
We don't have
commentary, 4 to 5% to 20-25 volume growth.
Volume
बहुत
growth,
कम
yeah.
है basically.
ठीक है, ये कल आंसर करते हैं.
हाँ,
कल
sorry.
फार्मा भी एक्चुअली फार्मा
Pharma,
गाइस, I'll tell you,
yeah.
we will, I know the index is down but we don't have time.
Yeah.
एक काम करते हैं, we'll go on air on TV at 2 o'clock to 3:30.
Yeah.
तभी we'll try and do an extended conversation on pharma. So log in on TV for that if you can.
Yeah.
Okay, but Sajeet, very
But
quickly,
ITC Hotels is listing tomorrow.
That's in tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Okay.
So that's going to be interesting because demerger के बाद जो रिकॉर्ड डेट आया तो 26 रुपये का है जो वैल्यू सेपरेट हुआ था. इम्प्लाइड वैल्यू 260 रुपीज़ का आसपास आता है क्योंकि 10 शेयर के लिए 1 शेयर मिला था आपको. कल between 9 and 10 you will have the special session. You get a valuation which is coming in at 10 o'clock trading शुरू होगा. I think 160 to 190 के बीच का प्राइस is what they are talking about. कॉस्ट ऑफ कंपनी ने जो अभी डिटेल्स निकाली है उसमें कॉस्ट ऑफ एक्विजिशन इज कमिंग टू 65 रुपीज़ पर शेयर ऑफ पर ITC होटल्स का. तो it is going to remain in the index for the next couple of days till the time इसके सर्किट हिट करेंगे. अगर सर्किट निकल गया तो अगले उसके 2 दिन के बाद वो बाहर निकल जाएगा.
सर ये तो ITC होटल्स हो गया.
ITC होटल हो गया.
ITC वाला क्या करेगा?
ITC में तो कंजम्पशन का इशू है ना, मतलब इन द सेंस the best part is between HUL and ITC. I feel that ITC is much better placed because of the rural penetration it has. So अगर आप कमेंट्री देखोगे तो रूरल में this demand holding up. That's what even HUL is saying. And ITC is much better penetrated there, so it will get a better number coming in there from there. Urban में it's the issue of one titration of demand, all people going to smaller packets, volume hit, वो सब. So price increases हो रहे हैं उसमें, और ITC
30 seconds.
उधर रहेगा, और cigarettes volume तो जो
But what about
cigarettes
increase in cigarette tax? That's potential board speculation.
Is that your budget expectation very quickly? 10
No,
seconds.
I don't think it will happen. I don't.
Okay,
वो
not happen.
पिछले हर बार हम इसको करते हैं, इस बार भी नहीं होने वाला
चलो,
है.
so that's a positive. No negative is positive. Quick 10 seconds. Key
On-
budget expectation on autos?
On autos, I think
10
EMS
seconds.
I have one. Electronic component scheme should come. Potentially, there have been rumors 25,000 crore outlay. Dixon has mentioned that it is coming. Keynes has mentioned. Amber has mentioned. And that will be a game changer for all these EMS players because they will now go into the high margin component space. So that is something.
So
to
what
watch
is the
out.
thing? What did he say?
So electronic components, PLI.
Electronic components,
So
PLI.
PLI, we all import right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
All components are
तो
imported.
सेमीकंडक्टर वगैरह सब उसमें आ जाएंगे? नहीं.
नहीं
वो
उसमें
अलग
सिर्फ
आएगा.
EMS. So like you make a refrigerator, you start making the components, and that is where Amber is working. I think very extensively
Okay.
for their AC
Your
business.
10 seconds are over.
Yes, sorry.
My budget expectation.
There.
No tinkering with capital gains tax.
Yes.
That done is a big positive.
Yeah.
I don't expect a cut will come.
Cut,
In case.
yeah.
That's my 10 seconds. But
Yeah.
we're done with time really. Harsh will be there tomorrow maybe. Who knows? I, Sajeet, Puneet, all three, two of us will also might be there. So let's figure out how it goes. But thank you so much guys for joining in. Slightly extended one today. Join in at 12:30 tomorrow as well.